Welcome, and today we're going to be doing our second Mun landing and hopefully a Minmus landing. This episode, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep it brief with the second Mun landing, mostly since we already did the first one. I'll just go ahead and keep to the highlights. So now, without further ado, it's time to go ahead and launch the thing with Jeb and Bob inside. And I'll go ahead and at this point skip to when we're actually at lunar periapsis and we start seeing some more unique things with this mission. We are now at lunar periapsis. I went ahead and aimed for a polar landing because that's going to yield us a bunch of new science. So it's time to go ahead and initiate the orbiting burn so we can actually land safely on. Let me see, which one do I want to choose? I'm going to choose the lunar north pole this time around. Just need to wait till we slow down a bit more. There we go. 1 million. It does look like we're going to have a lot less fuel than we did last time in terms of stuff in the, I guess what I'll call the secondary stage here in order to slow down to the surface itself, but I'm fine with that anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and warp to about here and initiate a final burn in which I will probably actually do it where I'm going to get super close to the surface with this periapsis here, but not on it, just so I can make sure I stay in the daylight zone. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, that's okay. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and just time warp to there. Let's see. I'm trying to look for the actual Mun itself, so I don't. Oh yeah, it's going to be right above us, isn't it? There it is. Yeah. I'll go and time warp till we're actually at the low point. We are nearing the low point of our orbit here. I do actually have some concern at this point. I'm going to try to hit there, but I do have some concern at this point that, per se, that basically that just how rugged the terrain here is going to cause an issue, but hopefully it won't. Hopefully it won't is keyword, though. Hopefully, anyway. Let me slow down. I want to land on this flat land right there. That is the goal. That flat land right there. Okay. Either way, I'm just gonna go and say this. This is actually, I like the lunar North Pole for pretty much one reason, and it's that it's the most scenic view on the moon, in my opinion. Okay. Let me go ahead and get out the lander to go initiate this final slowdown burn here. Okay, whoops, I mean to do that. Okay, at this point, yeah, we should be landing in the flatlands here. Yeah, good. Down a bit more. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and lower the lander until we're at about 1,000, at which point I'll gauge the landing burn and the slowdown burn. I'm also going to go ahead and turn up brightness. Let me see, where's that? Yeah. There we go. I'm just going to turn up brightness just for the landing itself, just so I can kind of see what I'm doing. Get to oh, sorry, that concerned me for a second. Let's slow down a bit more here. So it looks like it was a good idea to turn on brightness. We'll turn it up anyway, since it does look like that we would have been in the shadow of the lunar mountain there. Okay. Slow down just a bit more. 10 meters per second. It does look like we're on a slight incline, but that may be a-okay. Oh, ooh, okay, there. That's good. I was concerned for a second we were going to have an issue. I'm just going to go ahead and time warp just to kill off any remaining angular things. Okay. I'm going to now go ahead and turn brightness back down just so we can kind of get, yeah, the real moon. Looks a lot nicer in my opinion. I'm going to go act quick since we are sliding down the mountain here. Okay. Let's go get some data. And the big thing that we have, since we brought Bob, who is a scientist, he can pick up lunar surface samples. That's the real big thing here. Okay, report. Let's go ahead and pop out Bob here. We're just going to go have Bob take some surface samples, and can he not? I guess we can't take surface samples anyway. Thought we could. Either way, still cool to bring another Kerbal along with us. Okay, let's get that flag up. Flag. The Mudlander is kind of sliding back a bit. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of time work back to Kerbin. I'll show just mainly the very important parts of the return. Okay, let's come on. We can get on here. Yep. So at this point, we've pretty much done everything we can do. I was hoping to get a surface sample, but I guess we can't. That's a-okay. I'm just gonna double check. Yeah, the flag stayed, and it's time to go ahead and just lift off from the surface and head back to Kerbin. Okay. And how's it going? That's good. I want to make sure it goes this way, just so I can actually maneuver to get a Kerbin intercept while still being in lunar orbit, which will save us a ton of fuel. Okay. Let's get to about here, and let's initiate the final burn. Now at this point, I'll go ahead and skip to atmospheric reentry, just so I can spend as much time on this episode with the Minmus landing. Okay. We're about to hit atmospheric reentry at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and engage in turning on the radiators here, just so that the Bob's lander can right here doesn't absolutely explode. Okay. These are on, and at this point now we just need to wait until we hit the upper atmosphere, which should be a couple seconds here. Okay. So the main point of this episode is going to be the Minmus landing, however, and I'll spend the majority of the time focusing on that, since we already did a Mun landing last episode. Oh. Do I seriously only have one parachute? Huh. That was certainly an oversight on my part. It should be okay, though. It just means that Bob's can have a bit of a fun time. Do we land in the ocean? If we don't land in the ocean, that might be a concern. Okay. If Bob dies, that's going to be unfortunate, but I don't want Bob to die. I will say that, but there is a chance at this point that Bob could die from the lander getting smashed in. Okay. And it does appear we're going to land on the ocean, which should guarantee our safety just a little bit more. Okay. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and skip to where we're actually about to touch down the ocean, because it's going to be a certain long fall from here. So it does look like we do have enough. We're going slow enough that we shouldn't kill Bob, but it's not going to be a pretty landing as much. Okay. I fully expect that maybe the. Oh, never mind. I was expecting the heat shield to blow up, but it didn't. Okay. So we're back at the Space Center, and at this point, I'm going to go ahead and skip to whenever we have the Minmus rocket ready. The Minmus lander rocket is ready, and it's actually the exact same rocket as the rocket we used to go to the moon, with one exception, is that I have an EVA science kit with us. So if you would like a more advanced explanation of it, I'd go check out my last video, which will explain in more detail, but it's pretty much going to be identical to the rocket we just used to get to Minmus. And at this point, I'll go ahead and launch it. I'm going to try to keep everything as brief as possible, just so we can keep this under 15 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and launch our rocket here. So I'm going to try to focus the most on the actual part where we're at Minmus. So at this point, I'm going to show the highlights of Minmus, the maneuver, but I will go ahead and skip into when we're in orbit. We are now in orbit, and at this point, I'm going to try to simularize my orbit with Minmus by essentially, I'm going to go play around with normal, anti-normal in order to get this ascending and descending node degrees down to about 0, at which point we can pretty much treat this as if we were going to the Mun. Okay, just go ahead and try to reach anti-normal there. Okay, let's see. There we go. Okay, so that was not the option we wanted to choose. It does look like that. Okay, I'll go and toy around with it until we're actually at 0 at this point. Okay. Our orbit is now angled with Minmus's, just ever so slightly off, and that's one of the two ways I would say you can really achieve a Minmus encounter. The other one is you line up your ship with the ascending and descending node of the orbit right here, and just gonna wait for Minmus to line up properly. Like, let's say if you're gonna go to Minmus by doing the ascending node way, you'd wait till your ship's about here and Minmus is about here. But yes, either way, at this point, it's going to take quite a long time for us to actually get enough velocity to reach Minmus, so I'll go ahead and skip to when we do. We are now at Minmus periapsis, and I'll go ahead and initiate the orbital burn here. Okay. Yep. It's good, good. I want to go land on the Great Flats, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and skip into whenever I have myself maneuvered and ready to go into the Great Flats. We are now on a landing in the Great Flats, which is pretty much good for two reasons. 'Cause it means I can get that green sandstone I wanted, and it also looks like that we will have a flat landing area since the Great Flats are quite literally flat. Okay, let's just go ahead and use up the last of this big thruster here in order to kill off any, well, not kill off any velocity, but kill off a lot of velocity here. Okay. Slows down, and we're probably going to lose time warp eventually, yeah. Okay, we just lost time warp. And, yep, let's see. Yeah, we're out of fuel here, so I'll go ahead and at this point just eject that. There we go, and I'm going to do a quick save just in case there's any mishaps. Okay. We are now below. We're now getting pretty close now, yeah. Okay. Actually, we're gonna do something sneaky here. So we can get some extra science here just based off the fact we're above the lesser flats. And yeah. Okay, so that's just some extra science there we got. Under 1,000. See, 1,000. I'm kind of curious what that's gonna do there, because that's gonna hit the thing. That's gonna hit the ground, yeah. But it's not gonna like completely get destroyed. Part of it is gonna survive. Yeah, there it goes. A permanent feature on the surface of Minmus. 30 meters, 20. The one thing I will say I really do like about these low gravity moons is that because of how little gravity they have, I can basically just I can slow down and I don't have to really worry a ton about like my velocity increasing due to the gravitational acceleration. Okay, slow down. Yep. That's pretty much as good as we're going to get. Okay. Now we have touchdown on Minmus. Let's go ahead and just get some data from the lander itself before we do anything. And at this point, we're going to go let Bob out. And okay, there we go, Bob. Oh yeah, and there's one last thing we need to do. So Bob has this parachute. He doesn't need it. But what we do need is the science kit in there, since that's going to yield us a ton of data. Okay. Let's go let Bob float down to Minmus' surface here. And might I just say that the graphical mods that I've installed truly make this game a beauty. Okay. Yep, lesser flats. Let's go ahead and plant that flag. And Bob does look ever excited and terrifying at the same time, looking over at his little Bob view camera. So at this point, we've now pretty much gotten anybody that orbits Kerbal, so we're just gonna we'll do probably one more episode of researching and landing on the Mun and Minmus, so we can get enough money and science in order for a Duna mission soon enough. Okay, let's go see the golf ball, and I was kind of hoping to kind of see it float away. I did not, though. I don't know if any of y'all saw it. Let's see. So it looks like that's pretty much all the data we're going to get. Still doesn't look like we can get a surface sample. That's A-okay. So at this point, we're going to go send out Jeb to go hunt for sandstone while he kind of flies around the surface here. Okay, come on, Bob. Let's get us back on the lander there and in. And I'll go send Jeb out on a hunt for some green sandstone to take back home with us. There we have Jeb out the spacecraft, and I think I see some green sandstone in the distance there. Okay, let's float over to it. It's almost kind of like we're flying, which I guess we kind of are. Let's see, green sandstone that way. Almost there. You know, this is something I'm going to say I love about Minmus, is it has just enough gravity where, unlike Gilly, where it's not extremely annoying, but it's enough that we can actually pick up green sandstone and the stuff like that and just sort of float while we do it. So actually, I think I revised my plan. I'm not going to go to Duna, I'm going to go aim for Gilly. Just because Gilly has a lot of low gravity, and that's going to be a cheaper place to get a bunch of science super early. Okay, yep. That's the green sandstone we needed for that mission. At this point, we'll just go ahead and fly back to the lander here. And see, yep. Jeb's certainly enjoying it. Right, Jeb's almost back at the lander here. Let's just go ahead and kill Velocity and... Oh! Yeah, that had to have hurt. Oh, shit. Okay, sorry. I thought for a second I knocked over the lander. I was a little concerned there. Okay. Let's see. Looks like that's all we're going to need from the surface at this point, so we're just going to go ahead and take off and get ourselves into Minmus orbit here. Probably already have a large one. Oh, yeah. No. It's going to take very little delta V to get back home. It'll also probably take forever to reach periapsis, because I did land in the Great Flats now that I think about it as well. We are back now at Minmus orbit. I did kind of just realize I did forget to show the orbital burn. That's my mistake there. It wasn't really that exciting all that much, I'll be honest. Just kind of took forever in the end just because of no time warp and all that stuff. That's one thing I will say KSP2 is already doing better than KSP1 at, is time warp. Because time warp is insane sometimes in this game. Okay, so unfortunately, due to the actual place we landed on Minmus, I couldn't get a Kerbal intersection at Minmus, so instead what we're going to have to do is what we're doing right now, which is get into a Kerbal orbit and then arrange something from there. Okay, and yep, that's an intersect right there. Let's just go ahead and basically we're going to drop like a pin down to Kerbal at this point. I don't know, I might use some of the remaining fuel just to kill Velocity just to be super safe. I did realize I never fixed the parachute defect, but I mean, it did work last time, so shouldn't be a big issue this time. Okay, it's always good to save before anything happens, though. We're now at 7,000 meters. Well, actually, not 7,000 meters. 7,000 meters, so I guess 7 million meters is what we're really at. Well, now it's 2 million. Okay. About to go back to the big blue marble. So where would I want to start this decelerating burn? I think I'll start it at about, yeah, here. And I don't think I'm going to kill a lot of velocity, but at this point, anything helps. And I'll go ahead and skip to this point whenever the burn's over and we're about to touch the atmosphere. We are about to hit Kerbal's upper atmosphere, and I did manage to kill a ton of velocity doing that, which is kind of insane, to be honest. Do I think that's enough to fuel to warrant it becoming a Gilly lander? No, however, but it does look hopeful. I might have enough science and money at this point so where I can skip doing extra Mun missions and just go straight to Gilly if I choose Gilly as our target next episode. Okay. Re-entry. Still somewhat violent, but it's a lot better than what it would have been, which would have still been fine, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Okay. Let's see here. Yep, Jeb and Bill are doing just fine. And yep, we're now back safely on Kerbal's atmosphere. At this point, the only issue I might see is if we do go over land, is the heat shield will pop off, but that's not a big deal. I can always replace that. Okay, it does look like we're gonna land. Yep, just right on the coast. Should not be a problem. Okay. Yep. Bob and Jeb do not look excited to be home. They certainly do not. Okay. Yeah, it's certainly an awkward landing, but that's a-okay. And now that we're back at the Space Center, I'll go do some research, and I'm going to go ahead and end the episode off here. If you like this episode, then please like and subscribe, and please give me any form of suggestion you have that I could use to make this series better.